Hey folks, Dr. Joe here. Hope everybody's having a wonderful day. I'm having a wonderful day. And what we're going to talk about today are supplements. Because every day in my practices, and I've been doing this for, 30, 35 years now, we talk about supplements with our patients. We talk about what they should take, what they shouldn't take. Do they need them? And then, of course, the ultimate question, are they worth it? So we're going to talk about supplements today, hopefully answer a lot of your questions. I will open up the phone lines. In fact, let me do it now. If you have any health questions, not just about supplements, anything, you can give us a call, 844-44-DR-JOE, 844-44-DRJOE. And that'll get you through the studio here. And that number, by the way, rings through to my offices when I'm not on the air. Now, you hear doctors sometimes say you don't need supplements. And years ago, I heard this a lot more. You know, patients would come in and say, well, my doctor told me that I don't need supplements and that food doesn't have anything to do with your health. And over the past 3 decades that I've been around, three decades plus, we've seen a dramatic shift in that, where now doctors are taking supplements. And many times doctors will send patients to our offices and say, listen, I think this patient needs some nutritional work, but we don't really know much about nutrition. So can you take a look at it for us? And I say, yeah, of course they do. Now, if it were only true that in today's modern times you don't need supplements, that would be awesome. But fast food diets, which so many people eat, consisting of burgers, fries, pizzas, sodas, they have minimal nutritional value. And they may have some carbohydrates, fats, and proteins, but you're not getting the nutrients, the vitamins, the minerals, and the micronutrients, the phytonutrients, a lot of words you may have never even heard before. And even if you try to eat a balanced diet, the food we're eating today is not the same as it was 50 or 100 years ago. You have to compensate for the loss of value in your food. So even if you're eating a good plant-based diet, which is the ultimate diet, of course, if you're eating a plant-based diet, but the plants are grown in soil that's depleted, they use fertilizers, chemicals, steroids, hormones, pesticides, herbicides, and maybe the foods are genetically modified, it's not the same food that your grandparents ate. Just this week in practice, I had 2 people come in. One was 97. And she's been a patient of ours for many years, about 30 plus years now. She's been a patient. And she said, I had to drive, remember, she's 97. I had to drive my son in today because he has a headache. Now, her son is in his 70s. So here she was, 97 years old, driving her baby boy because he had a headache and couldn't drive. Now, I'm a chiropractor. First time you're joining us, I'm board certified in chiropractic, orthopedics, pain management, double board certified in nutrition, BS in nutrition, retired dietitian, award-winning author, and if you've listened to the show before, this show is heard coast to coast and around the world. It's the number one talk radio show on health and wellness in the country. So she drove her son. Had another lady come in who was also 97. She had to be driven by someone, but she said, the doctor wants me to walk with a walker, but I hate it. It just throws me off balance. I don't want to have to walk with this walker. But her vision was going, and if my story is I have a condition called macular degeneration, and I took supplements, and I got about 80 to 90%, well, about 80% improvement at this point after 4 years. So kind of spurs on this whole topic. But the food that these 97-year-old ladies were eating 97 years ago is different than it is today. They got a good running start. We're not getting a good running start. So nutritional value of foods have taken a huge hit when the world started using chemical fertilizers, or what we call fertilizer farming. But even after that, values continue to fall for the past 60 years. Soils becomes depleted, and a lot of key minerals are not there anymore. According to Rutgers University study, it now takes 19 ears of corn to equal the nutritional value of just 1 ear of corn grown in 1940. So that's a perfect example. There's less than half the nutritional protein in today's wheat as there was that our grandparents eat. Correspondingly, levels of gluten and gliadin are much higher. Now, gluten is a protein that is very hard to digest. We don't have the enzymes as humans to break down gluten. And so many people have gluten sensitivities. And there's also something called wheat germ agglutinin, which is something that's found a lot in commercial wheat. That causes the body to respond, cause inflammation and allergic reactions. And then gliadin is part of the gluten, and that causes a lot of allergic reactions as well. And what happens is a lot of these proteins look like the lining of your colon. So if your body's immune system is not really specific, it can say, we're going to attack this gliadin, or this wheat germ agglutinin, but the colon cells look a lot like it, so we're going to attack that too. And that causes a lot of gas and bloating, inflammation, and many times that inflammation becomes systemic, What that means is it goes through your whole system. So a lot of people, when they eat wheat, especially commercial wheat grown in the United States, they'll have brain fog. They'll get moody. They'll feel bloated. They're having a reaction to the food. And in recent years, many companies now are spraying weed killer on the wheat before they harvest it. And so they spray the weed killer on the wheat to kill the wheat. It's easier to harvest. It doesn't put as much stress on the machines. But what that does is now you're getting a lot of this weed killer in your wheat. So you may not be having a reaction to gluten or gliadin or wheat germ agglutinin. You actually have a reaction to weed killer, which, by the way, if you ever read the label on weed killer, it clearly says, do not inhale, don't spray it if the wind's blowing toward you. Don't let your kids or your pets on the lawn after you spray it. And here we are spraying it on our food. How many of you eat wheat every day? Raise your hands. How many of you eat wheat several times a day? So if there's two foods I want you to consider giving up before we get into the supplements and what to take, I want you to give up wheat and I want you to give up dairy. Those are the number one is dairy and number two is wheat as far as food allergies go. Give up wheat and dairy. Try it for 2 weeks. I'm not asking you forever. Just give me 2 weeks. At the end of 2 weeks, go back to eating wheat and dairy and see how you feel. And if I'm wrong, if you don't feel better when you don't eat it and feel worse when you do, so what? I was wrong. But if I'm right, which I am, you'll say, okay, this makes sense now, and I understand why I have the brain fog, why I have the mood swings, why I can't concentrate at work, because it's going to make a difference. Oh, folks, got to go to a break. If you have a question, give us a call here at the studio. My number is 844-44-DR-JOE, 844-44-DRJOE. My website, if you want more information about the show, we archive our shows there. If you have questions, you want to send them to me through the website, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe with the number one Dr. Joe in the world. Hey, tell your friends about the show. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back. Don't go anywhere. Hey, thanks for listening. Glad you could make it. I am Dr. Joe Esposito. We're talking today about supplements, and do you really need them? Are they worth it? Should you take them? What kind should you take? And this is probably, aside from pain, as a chiropractor, we get pain patients and digestive problems. This is the big question we get about food. Now, when you think about it, what we've done, we've exchanged quality for quantity. We can produce a lot of product with genetically modified foods and fertilized farming and factory farming, but you can't keep increasing your yield per acre and at the same time steadily depleting the soil year after year and not expect to lose something in the process. And that's what's lost is the quality of our food, the value, the nutrients that are in the food. Now, when it comes to supplements, a lot of commercial-grade vitamin and mineral concentrates are synthesized by a lot of chemical companies, and they start with the same material many times that they make drugs with, and those are things like coal tar, wood pulp, petroleum products, animal byproducts, waste, fecal matter, ground-up rocks, stones, seashells, metal. These are not things that I would want as part of my diet. I wouldn't eat them by themselves, so why would I want to eat them in a supplement form? Now, at one time, B12, what was called cobalamin, was extracted from activated sewage sludge. Now, it's a little better. Now it's grown from bacteria, but many times it's stabilized with cyanide, and you'll see cyanocobalamin. So if you're going to use a B12, I don't recommend the cyanocobalamin. I recommend the methylcobalamin because you're using methyl and methyl groups. If you're a chemist, the body can utilize very well and actually needs what's called a methyl group. So I even though it's small amounts of cyanide, it's not going to kill you. Make the better choice. I always say this when it comes to healthcare. If you're going to make a choice when it comes to healthcare, make the best one. It's going to make a choice of food. Is it better to have the bean burrito or the beef burrito? Have the bean burrito. Is it better to have it with a wrap or without a wrap? Have it without the wrap. Try to make better choices when you're picking your food. Same thing with your supplements. A lot of supplemental calcium carbonate, is either mined from the earth or ground up old bones or made from oyster shells. Now, these are three things that you wouldn't normally eat, but many times that's what your calcium carbonate, your calcium supplements are, the cheaper ones. Another surprise, and this is important for you to understand, and then I'll start taking some callers, the word organic. Now, when it applies to supplements, it doesn't mean the same thing as it does with food. For supplements, the word organic means that the molecule has to contain at least one carbon atom. If you ever studied organic chemistry, that's why it's called organic chemistry. It's the study of carbon molecules. So in other words, a supplement can be labeled 100% organic and not be natural at all. And many so-called natural vitamins have synthetics added to them to increase their potency. Vitamin manufacturers may also add synthetic salt forms of vitamins to increase what's called stability, so they don't wear out as much or deteriorate. Now, synthetics can be identified if you read your vitamin bottles. If you see the word acetate, chloride, gluconate, hydrochloride, nitrate, succinate, these are all telling you that they're synthetic supplements. Now, we're going to talk about how to pick a good supplement, but let me take a few callers. I don't want folks to hold on too long. So, Jim, how can we make your day better?
Oh, Joe, I want to ask you about the 19 ears of corn.
Yes. Okay.
If I grow it myself and I use horse exhaust for fertilizer,
yes.
I don't believe the public can buy genetically modified seed. Is it the same detrimental thing you're talking about?
Well, a couple of things on that. If you're going to buy seeds, they need to be organic, okay? Right. Because there may be I don't know if the public can buy genetically modified seeds.
I don't think you can.
Yeah, I've never been asked that question. But if it's going to be corn seeds, you want to make sure it's organic. The problem is that so much of the corn has been cross-pollinated or cross-contaminated with genetically modified seeds. So whatever you're buying, chances are it may have been cross-pollinated. But best choice is going to be to buy organic. Now, that being said, and by the way, if you're just tuning in, what Jim's referring to is I said earlier that according to a Rutgers University study, it now takes 19 ears of corn to get the equal nutritional value as just 1 ear of corn from 1940. And I mean, I wasn't around in 1940, but I remember corn being a lot tastier and a lot sweeter than it is today. But I digress. So if you're going to grow your own corn, you could use horse manure. That's fine, but it depends what the horse ate.
He's eating my yard.
Okay, that's perfect then. That should be fine because the horse manure is loaded with good bacteria.
Oh, yeah.
And then worms come and eat the horse manure. So if you're going to grow corn, I'd recommend absolutely positively doing it the way you said, yes.
Yeah, he's big pet lawnmower.
Oh, there you go. Perfect then. Yeah, so as long as you're not putting pesticides on your lawn, which sounds like you're not.
No, well, I have well water, so I stay away from that.
Perfect. Sounds good then. That's the way I would do it.
So that sounds good then. All right.
Thanks, Jim. Appreciate the call.
Thank you.
All right, let's see here. James, how can we make your day better? Hello, James. Earth, ground control. James, you there? Going once, going twice. I'm going to put you back on hold there, James. Let me find my hold button. There you go. Good. All right, folks, if you're on, keep holding, okay? If you have a question, give us a call, 844-44-Dr. Joe, 844-44-DRJOE. And James just disappeared. He went away. He waited all that time, and then he disappeared.
Too much pressure.
You think so? It's a little much. He's going to talk on the radio. He gets nervous. Yeah. What's cool about the radio is we can't see what we look like. Like, for example, I can tell you I'm really good looking, and I could be lying. But I will tell you this. There's a battle going on between Eric Von Hessler's producer and my producer. Eric Von Hessler says he's got the best-looking producer in radio, Jared Yamamoto. I think Ahmad Rashad Carter is the best-looking producer in radio.
You're so kind. Thank
you. I'm going to defend your honor here. So I'm going to champion your cause. So. But anyway, we digress here. So we're talking about supplements. You have a question, give us a call about anything in healthcare. 844-44-Dr. Joe. Digestive enzymes, trace minerals, and food-grown multivitamins as a supplement are vital to your health. Now, if you do these regularly, along with proper eating, making sure your body is cleansing itself, making sure the bowels are moving 2 to 3 times a day, exercise, doesn't have to be hitting a gym for 4 hours a day, at least keeping the body in motion, your health is going to do pretty darn good. There's 3 things you have to have in order to obtain and maintain health. You have to have a normally functioning nervous system, a normally functioning digestive system, and good nutrition. These are the 3 things that you have to have. And so often when patients come to my offices, they say, Dr. Joe, I want to get healthy. And I'll say, okay, you want to get well? Yes, you're going to have to help. Because we, as chiropractors, can fix the spine. Many times people have acid reflux, heartburn, burping, gas, bloating, and the stomach is actually pushed up against the diaphragm, and we need to manually pull the stomach or massage the stomach away from the diaphragm. And when we do that, the whole digestive system relaxes. The acid reflux, the heartburn, the burping, the gas, that usually gets better. The bowels return to normal function 2 to 3 times a day, and you're able to break down your nutrients so you can absorb them to make your body work better. So you have to have physical health and not working out, but actually have everything tuned up and lined up properly, and you have to have chemical health. And the chemical health comes from you eating a good diet, mostly fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds, staying away from the 7 deadly sins, alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener, eating more raw foods, fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. As I said, try to do them raw, and then good supplements. The supplement I recommend, I'm going to jump ahead now for a second, is Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. If you don't know what they are, go to my website, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe. They're 2 powders. I have them sitting in front of me right now. It's the minimum amount of nutrients that your body needs in a day. I take it at least once a day. And again, it's Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source on the website, drjoeesposito.com. Hey, don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back. I am so happy that you're here. Thanks for spending a little time with me. I know everybody's really busy, so I do appreciate you taking time out of your day. And what we're talking about today are supplements. Do you need them? Are they healthy? Are they safe? What kind should I take? And we're answering a lot of those questions, too. So if you have a question, give us a call. Number's 844-44-DR-JOE. And if you're on hold, folks, with a question, please keep holding. I'll get to you soon, I promise. So I've said many times that you need to have 3 things in order to obtain and maintain good health. And that would be a normally functioning nervous system, a normally functioning digestive system, and good nutrition. Now, good nutrition comes from eating the right foods, but I can't imagine you eating enough of the right foods to not require supplements in modern times. So that's something I want you to consider, that I wouldn't go a day without taking supplements. Now, I'm a vegan. I'm plant-based. I haven't had any animal products in over 30 years. I'm not asking you to do that. I'm asking you to make better choices. Because, of course, the number one question is, where do you get your protein from? I got plenty of protein. Don't worry about me and my protein, okay? Your body only needs about 8% of its total caloric intake as protein. And as a plant-based diet, I get way more than that. In fact, a carrot is 6%. So there's plenty of protein out there. American Dietetic Association clearly states that if you're eating enough plant-based diet foods to maintain your weight and your energy level, you're getting more than enough protein. So don't lose your mind over that protein question everybody seems to get freaky over. When it comes to supplements, a broad-based vitamin mineral supplement is a major component that everyone has to, I feel, have in their body if their goal is to obtain and maintain good health. It's virtually impossible to get everything you need from the modern diet. Now, I recommend a Living Food multivitamin mineral complex. Now, what does that mean? If you heat something above 110 degrees, you start to destroy something called the enzymes. Now, enzymes are not vitamins and minerals, but without enzymes, nothing else works. I call them matchmakers. What happens is an enzyme takes this vitamin and this mineral and this nutrient and makes them all come together and create an end product, a cell or whatever the body needs. So when you're born, your body produces lots of enzymes, and that's why babies grow. That's why young children heal so quickly. And as we get older, our enzyme levels plummet, and that's called aging. So when you take your supplements, I recommend taking something that's made with raw nutrients that aren't heated. And I try to eat something raw at every meal because raw food is going to give you enzymes that you can't get unless you have raw food, or take enzyme supplements, of course. Now, I said earlier, I take something called Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. Now, these are 2 powders. The Essential Source is raw fruits and vegetables in a powder form, prebiotics, probiotics, digestive enzymes, and a complete multivitamin. And the Super Greens give you antioxidants to repair cell damage and enzymes. There are 2 powders. I take a scoop of each. I mix it with coconut milk or almond milk, unsweetened. We're going to keep the sugar out of the diet. I shake it up in a glass jar and drink it. Tastes delicious. First of all, it's awesome. Second of all, once you start taking it, you're going to say, how did I ever survive without this? And the cool part is, when you're hungry, you're not hungry for food, you're hungry for nutrition. And so when you're giving your body all the nutrition that it needs, a lot of those hunger cravings start to go away. There was a time before I invented Super Greens and Essential Source that I loved my breads and my cookies and my cakes and my donuts and my pastas. And now I could look at them and go, wow, that looks good. I'm not going to do it. The brain works better. Your energy comes up. It helps the bowels work better. I don't see a downside to taking something that's relatively inexpensive to give you the nutrients. So I challenge you this. Try it for 1 month. And if I'm wrong, like I said, I'm wrong. So what? But I'm not wrong. And you can get information about that on my website, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe with the number 1 Dr. Joe in the world. Also, Super Greens and Essential Source are available on Amazon if you have an account there. Let's go back to the callers. Eric, how can we make your day better?
Dr. Joe, is this Eric Frederickson you're asking?
Yes, sir.
Oh, my goodness, man. Hey, it's great to talk to you. Folks, I got to tell you something. Dr. Joe and I talked about this. I got something to say. All right? Dr. Joe and I met about 9 years ago, and he changed my life. This man, he's what I refer to as a truth teller, okay? He's speaking truth right now. I'll tell you something, we got a lot of liars in this society. We got a lot of powerful liars, and they're perpetuating a lot of false stuff. And what am I talking about? Just what Dr. Joe's talking about, that meat equals protein, that cow's milk equals dairy. That stuff is false. And why do I say, why do I use that term liars? Well, I'll tell you something. I think it's on purpose. I don't think that these multi-billion-dollar conglomerates and these government officials are ignorant of what Dr. Joe's talking about. I think that they want an unhealthy population. Why? Well, an unhealthy population is a lot easier to make money on. It's a lot easier to control. And, my challenge to everybody today is start thinking about things in terms of that. Why in the world, ask yourself this, when you go into a grocery store, why in the world is high fructose corn syrup in half the ingredients and everything? Why is that? Why in the world are when you go into a hospital and you go into the cafeteria, why in the world is fried meat on the menu? If these people were interested in our health, things would be different. I submit to you today, I don't believe they're interested in our health. And I think we should all start thinking about that. We should start acting on it. How do we act on it? We act on it with our pocketbooks. We act on it with the conversations we have with our friends. And you know what? When you turn towards what Dr. Joe's talking about, and you turn away from meat, you turn away from dairy, and coffee, and all that, you're going to get arrows thrown your way. Oh, why in the world are you, what meat's healthy, chicken's healthy, chicken's lean. I had a buddy tell me that the other day when we were talking about this. It takes courage, okay, in our society today to live a healthy life. It takes a certain amount of courage. And you know what? I want to be an inspiration to you guys. I am living, breathing, walking, talking, moving, and grooving proof that what Dr. Joe says is absolutely true. I wake up every day. I feel like $1,000,000.
Eric, we're all sitting here in the studio smiling. We're loving your passion, man. You've taken the Super Greens and the Essential Source, right?
Oh, absolutely.
All right, give us a 10-second promo on that.
Every single morning I make a concoction. I got base of water or vegetable juice. I add some apple cider vinegar. I add some pink Himalayan salt, rock salt. I add Essential Source Super Greens, and I take a product called Brain Juice. And I add some flaxseed oil. I do all this stuff, man. I take that every single morning, and I drink water like a fish all throughout the day. I work out. I run 5-6 miles a day, or not a day, but, a couple times a week. And I work out like mad. I mean, Dr. Joe, I got to thank you, man. You changed my life.
Wow.
I really, really, you are a truth teller, and you're a warrior for good health. And if we don't have good health, it's impossible for us to achieve our hopes and dreams, in my opinion.
We'll
Yes,
almost go to a break, Eric, but I can't thank you enough. I really do appreciate your kind words. And it is true. If you do it, like I said, do it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But you'll testify that it does work, right?
Oh, like I say, I'm proof of it, Dr.
Great, man.
Joe. And,
Eric, got to go to a break now.
Go away from...
Yeah, okay. We're going to go to a break, but thank you so much, man. I appreciate the call. See, folks, calls like that, man, that makes us all smile, doesn't it? And it really does work. If you have a normally functioning nervous system, a normally functioning digestive system, and good nutrition, you pretty much got a healthcare plan, and you won't have to worry so much about the future of, quote, healthcare because you have your own plan. Folks, if you have a question or a comment, give us a call, 844-44-Dr. My website, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe. You can get the Super Greens, the Essential Source there like Eric was talking about. We have archive videos there, archive radio shows. You can get my books there. I've written a few books as well. Hey, 844-44-Dr. Joe. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back. Dr. Joe, don't go anywhere. Hey, folks, thanks for listening. I do appreciate your time. And thanks for telling your friends about the show, too, because every week we monitor our website and we get, countless more hits. And a lot of it's because of you telling your friends, because we want to naturally get you well and keep you well. So we're talking about today's supplements, kind of give you a supplement guide as to what to take, what not to take. Now, the more you do wrong in your daily life, eat bad foods, don't exercise, sit a lot, the more you're going to need to add supplements to your diet. If you're looking for optimum health, then the more you do of what we talk about, the better off you're going to be. Because some people live a good life, and it's interesting. I've done this many times. I still kind of do it for fun in a grocery store. Look at the people shopping in a grocery store. Look at the person that you would like to look like, or somebody that you find attractive, let's say, okay? So it could be the same sex, opposite sex, whatever you find attractive. It's fine with me. I don't care. And look in their grocery cart. And chances are you're going to see things like fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. Now look at somebody that you maybe wouldn't be attracted to or somebody you wouldn't want to be like. And then look in their grocery cart. You're going to see the alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, artificial sweetener, breads, cookies, cakes, donuts, pastas. It's not a secret. Good-looking, healthy people, good-looking and or healthy people, do certain things. Unhealthy people do the opposite. You don't just get there. It's not just genetics where you go, oh, look at you. You're 45, 50, 60 years old, and you're skinny and you look great. It doesn't happen by chance in most cases. It's their lifestyle. So eating a good diet is important, and then adding supplements as well is also important. You want to do a lot of vegetables. Vegetables are the key. I recommend you do at least one vegetable meal a day. When I say a vegetable meal, that could be a salad, could be roasted vegetables. I like Brussels sprouts. I'm a big Brussels sprout fan. I'll take Brussels sprouts, a little olive oil, organic balsamic vinegar, salt, pepper, and a little garlic powder, and I'll put them under the broiler. Quick, easy bag of organic Brussels sprouts cost you about $1.50. Add in the oil and the vinegar, maybe $2. That could be a meal. So many times you think, well, I have to have meat and a potato and a vegetable and a side. No, have a bag of Brussels sprouts. It's filling. You'll feel great. You won't feel bloated. You'll have energy. So many people after lunch are just so exhausted. And they're exhausted because they're eating foods that are exhausting to the body. Let's go back to the callers, 844-44 Dr. Joe. Brenda, how can we make your day better?
Oh, hello, Dr. Joe. I've seen you at the Life Grocery. I love listening to you and seeing you speak.
Well, thank you.
You have so much good information. I have two questions. You somewhat touched on it before, but you didn't elaborate on it. CoQ10 and high cholesterol and statins and how you felt about those. And you touched on some things I had thought for a long time, but it seems like the medical profession doesn't seem to think about feel differently about high cholesterol. So
right. Well, again, when it comes to the medical profession, I'm not against medicine. I take drugs if I need them. I recommend you take them if you need them. However, all my medical doctor friends, and including some of the major universities near my offices that have asked me to be instructors, be an instructor, they just don't know this stuff. You know, they come to me and they say, I listen to your shows all the time. I go to your website. I download your radio shows. I watch your videos of lectures that you've done on your website. We've never heard any of this in medical school. It's not taught. Famous person once said, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And it's not that the medical profession is malicious and the doctor's sitting around over coffee going, how can we mess up Brenda's health now? No, they just don't know. And when they hear these...
I think that's true. And I think they deal with the symptoms and not trying to prevent preventive medicine. I think that's
very good at having.
That's where they go wrong.
I hurt my back. I have an old fracture in my back, and I was working out. I hurt my back really bad, and I called a medical doctor friend of mine, and she sent me a prescription, and I took one pill. She sent me a whole prescription, 3 different pills, a whole month's worth, and I took one pill. I started feeling better, but I took the medicine. It helped me get over the pain and treat the symptoms. Then I went to my office, had my chiropractors work on me, and I was fine. So I'm not against medication. But like you said, if you're only treating the symptom and not treating the cause, that's where the problem comes in. So let's talk about your question with CoQ10. What we're finding now, the new research on high cholesterol is in 99 out of 100 people, they're not producing too much cholesterol. What's happening is their body is not recycling the cholesterol that's in their blood. So they produce it. You're supposed to recycle it in the liver, but it's just being built up because the receptor sites, the recycling receptor sites get clogged up. And so if we can help the liver heal, and there are supplements you can take, so like Livton. I use a company called Standard Process, Livton or Livaplex. It helps the liver heal. When you stop putting bad foods in the body, the alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener, the liver instantly starts to heal. And in many cases, that drops the cholesterol. In the meantime, if you're one in 100 who genetically produces too much cholesterol, or you're going through the process of healing the liver, I recommend you take a supplement called coenzyme Q10. There's 2 forms, ubiquinone and ubiquinol. Ubiquinol is the type you want to take. That's the active form. Now,
okay, I'm sorry, did you say that again?
Ubiquinol, O-L, not ubiquinone. Okay, ubiquinol ends in O-L. That's the type you want to take. Now, what happens is if you take statin drugs, it prevents your liver from producing cholesterol. The same enzyme that produces cholesterol produces coenzyme Q10. So if you're taking statin drugs, your body's not producing its own coenzyme Q10. Well, the question comes up, why is that important? Coenzyme Q10 goes into the cells and makes the mitochondria, the part of the cell that produces energy, work. And so if you're taking statin drugs, many times you're tired, you feel weak, because the enzyme, you're not getting the coenzyme Q10 into the cells to activate the mitochondria. So I do recommend strongly, if anyone is taking cholesterol medication, that they also take coenzyme Q10 as a supplement.
Okay, and how do you feel about statins? I don't take statins. I think sometimes they do more damage than sometimes they do good.
Well, there's a strong camp, if you will, out there of doctors that are saying the exact same things you are. Now, I'm not a medical doctor. I can't tell you to take drugs or not take drugs. I'm a chiropractor. But if your doctor recommends it, I would say, A, straighten out your diet, clean out your liver, take Dr. Joe's Super Greens, Dr. Joe's Essential Source, eat more raw food. That should naturally lower your cholesterol. If you need to take the statin drugs in the meantime, make sure you're taking the coenzyme Q10 as well.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Well, thanks for calling. I appreciate that, Brenda. And again, I'm not against drugs, folks. I'm not against surgery, but many times it's unnecessary because people don't know there's an alternative. In our offices, we get people come in every single day from all over the world wanting a second opinion. In most cases, we have a good option for them. If you have a question, number here at the studio is 844-44-Dr. Joe, 844-44-Dr. Joe. That number rings through to my offices, by the way, when we're not on the air. If you want to get Super Greens, Essential Source, listen to radio shows in the archives, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe. Hey, don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back. I am happy that you're here. I'm happy you're taking some time out of your day to spend with me. I do appreciate that. I know everybody's a little busy. And so it's always nice and very flattering that you spend some time with me. I am Dr. Joe Esposito. And today we're talking about supplements, kind of like the good, the bad, and the ugly. Do you need them? What's the best kind to take? And it's important you understand this because every day for the past 32 years that I've been in practice, some patient comes in and says, I'm taking supplements. And I say, good. And they say, here they are, and they hand me a bag of supplements, and I look at them, and I go through it, and inevitably I say, well, I wouldn't take this one. This is a synthetic form. I wouldn't take this one. It's not a source that you need. I wouldn't take this one. You're wasting your money. I wouldn't take this one. It's ascorbic acid, and ascorbic acid is only 1/8 of the vitamin C molecule. You want the whole vitamin C molecule. And eventually they start to understand that what they're taking is either wasting their money at best or at worst could actually be causing problems. For example, if you're taking calcium carbonate, it can block up your receptor sites for absorbing the good calcium. So you can actually lose your body's levels of calcium or deplete your body's levels of calcium by taking the wrong kind of supplement. This is why it's so important that you understand what you're taking. The best kind of supplement is what we call a whole food supplement. It's made with whole, unprocessed foods. Well, there's always some processing involved. We talk about my supplements, Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source, which I think are absolutely the best of the best. And we take the whole food, we juice the fruits and vegetables, then take the water out and the sugar, and what's left is a powder. So that's why diabetics or people with sugar issues can take the Super Greens, the Essential Source, and get all the benefits of the fruits and vegetables without the sugar. Now let's go back to the callers. Jimmy, you have a question about Super Greens. How can I help you?
Yeah, hey, thanks, Dr. Joe. I appreciate you taking the call. Interested in taking your supplements, but I'm not big on the almond milk. Can you give me any ideas of how else I can take it?
Absolutely. You can mix it with water if you want. I mean, that's fine. They're powder, so you can't just take them straight up. You can put them in a smoothie if you want to. You can put them in vegetable juices if you want to. Any way you can get them in your body is fine. You can mix it in a salad if you wanted to.
Okay, great. Hey, I appreciate it. Thanks.
My pleasure. Enjoy them, Jimmy. Most people do, by the way. Once they start taking them, they love them. And you go on automatic reorder if you want, and those are great. If you have a question, give us a call. Anything on health, 844-44-Dr. Joe, 844-44-DRJOE. Another trick you might want to consider, it's not really a supplement, something you want to add to your diet, is something called flax seeds or chia seeds or psyllium seeds. Because unless you're eating a really good diet, your body needs fiber to push everything through. And there's two types of fiber. There's soluble and non-soluble. And soluble fiber, there's two types. But if you take chia seeds, for example, that's the soluble fiber. It creates like a slime. And when I say slime, not a bad way, kind of like oatmeal. You know how oatmeal has a little thickness to it? So a little trick you can do that's really inexpensive, that's really good for you, is you can take some chia seeds. I make tea, and I have this in my refrigerator right now. If you went to my house, it's there. And I just take a glass jar. Again, I try to stay away from plastic in every way I possibly can. Take a glass jar, I make a tea, and I don't even boil it. I just take a tea bag and throw it in some water and let it sit there for a while, 10, 15, 20 minutes. And then I add a couple of tablespoons of chia seeds to it. Now, and then I put it in the refrigerator. I'll add a little stevia to it, too, because I like the sweetness to it. And I let it sit overnight, and then the chia seeds swell up. And you've got this chia tea, for lack of a better word. And I'll take, a couple of big sips of it every day, and it's really good for you because the fiber swells up in your colon and kind of acts like a broom and pushes everything out. And that's really exciting if you like having a clean digestive system. But the cool part is, too, that most people have between 10 and 15 pounds of undigested rotten food in their colon, specifically animal products. And when you start putting fiber, like soluble fiber, chia seeds, for example, really an expensive way to do this, and push everything through, you start to lose weight. Now, you're only losing what's laying in your colon. It's not really fat that you're losing. It's just the 10 to 15 pounds of undigested, rotten, putrefied meat in your colon. And it pushes it through, and you start to feel good. Your stomach flattens out. The bloating goes away. Your energy starts to pick up. And you start to think, wow, this is amazing. So it really is a cool, cheap way to do it. Now, I also have something called Dr. Joe's Intestinal Cleanser. If your bowels aren't moving 2 to 3 times a day, you can get Dr. Joe's Intestinal Cleanser, which works very well also. And that's on my website and on Amazon at drjoeesposito.com. Or, say it with me, just Google Dr. Joe with the number one Dr. Joe in the world. Brian, how can we make your day better?
Hey, Dr. Joe. I was reading that liposomal vitamin C is the best kind of vitamin C to take, and I wondered what you thought about that.
Probably correct, yeah. The problem with vitamin C is that many times people take what we said earlier, ascorbic acid. And ascorbic acid is only a fraction of the vitamin C molecule, and many studies have shown it's not nearly as effective. But the liposomal vitamin C is an excellent form of it, yes.
What would be a good dose?
Well, everybody's different. You can follow the directions on the label, which is a good guide. But if you want to know your specific dose, this is what I'll tell you to do. Take the amount that's on the label, whatever it says, a pill. I'm making something up here now. Take a pill. See how you feel the next day. If your bowels are still working normally, take 2 the next day. Then take 3 the next day. Eventually, you're going to get loose stools or diarrhea. When you get to that level, you've reached what's called your bowel tolerance, which means you can't absorb any more, so it's being flushed out. Cut back to about whatever you took the day before, and that's your bowel tolerance. So that's a more specific way of doing it, but following the label should be enough.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, my pleasure. You guys, you try to trick me with questions. You're not going to trick me. If you have a question, give us a call, 844-44-DR-JOE. That number rings through to my offices when I'm not on the air, by the way. And the website, if you've never been to the website, go there, drjoeesposito.com. Articles that I've written are there. You can sign up for a newsletter that I have. It's no charge. You can listen to archived radio shows, hundreds of hours of radio shows, videos of my live lectures. If you have questions, you don't want to come on the air, you can send them to me through the website. I'm more than happy to do that for you. I really want to be your doctor. My team of doctors and I actually want to be your doctors. We want to do everything we can to help you get well and stay well. I'm going to have to go to a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about vitamin D. We're going to talk about omega-3 fatty acids. We're going to talk about probiotics, prebiotics. We kind of covered a little bit about ubiquinol and ubiquinone. We got a lot to talk about. And then also immune boosters. As cold and flu season comes around, I want to teach you how to boost your immune system. The number here at the studio, 844-44-DR-JOE. We will be right back. Hey, thanks for listening. I do appreciate you taking time out of your day to be here. We're talking today about vitamins and supplements, and do you need them? Do you not need them? What's good? What's not? I got several callers. If you're on hold, keep holding. I'm going to get to you. The number's 844-44-DR-JOE if you have a question. And before the break, I made some promises, what I was going to talk about, and I do want to talk about these things. Omega-3 fatty acids. Now, I'm a vegan. I don't eat any animal products, but there's 2 types of omega-3 fatty acids. There's ALA, and then there's DHA and EPA. The ALA form is you get from plants. You can get it from green leafy vegetables have it in there. Macadamia nuts have it. Flax seeds, chia seeds. These are good sources of omega-3 fatty acids. However, your body has to convert the ALA into the DHA, and unfortunately, that doesn't happen very well, even in a really healthy body. So I supplement my omega-3 fatty acids with DHA and EPA. Now, there's 3 types I want you to consider. One is fish oil. Now, I'm not a big fan of fish oil because you run the risk of mercury contamination. It depletes the stocks of fish in the ocean. So it's not one that I would choose. But if you're going to do it, it's okay. There's next choice would be krill oil. Now, krill oil is a better choice because it's in what's called the phospholipid form, which is much easier to absorb than the fish oil form of the DHA and the EPA. And krill is might be a little more expensive, but it's less likely to have contaminants in it, and it's easier to absorb. So my idea would be, well, I would take krill oil if I ate animal products. And then the third one is algae oil. Now, algae oil is the purest, best form, in my opinion, by far. The problem with the algae oil is that it's expensive. However, if you eat a healthy diet, if you take supplements on a regular basis, if you keep your spine healthy, let's say you're getting chiropractic care, if you keep your digestive system healthy, you are most likely going to save so much money that you're going to have enough money to get crazy and buy things like krill oil. Because trust me, folks, I've been a vegan over 30 years. I'm not asking you to do this. Remember, I wish you would, but I'm not asking you to. You will be fascinated how much money you save right out of the gate. Every person I've ever spoken to says, I can't believe how much money I have at the end of the week because you're eating plant-based food, which is so much less expensive. So if you're going to do an omega-3 fatty acid, it's your choice what you decide. If you're going to do fish, make sure it's certified mercury-free. If you're going to do krill, that's a better choice, but make sure it's a good form because many times you get the cheap ones in like the big box stores, they may be rancid. Don't like that. And then, of course, the algae oil is going to be your best bet. But I take omega-3s. I take a gram a day. So it's 2 pills for me. But you want to take a lot, okay, because it's really good for you. It's good for the brain as well. Let's go back to the callers. If you have a question, by the way, 844-44 Dr. Joe. Daniel, how can we make your day better?
Yes, sir. How are you doing today?
I'm happy you called, Daniel.
Good. I was telling the other gentleman that took my call is I'm a combat vet. I got out of the military in 2011, and ever since then I have had really bad acid reflux, which has caused me to take a pill every day, and I can't even pronounce what it's called, propofol or something like that.
Uh-huh.
And I was wondering, is there anything I can do more natural rather than taking a pill every day to kind of help keep it under control?
Absolutely, Daniel, and you're going to be very happy in the next 2 minutes what I'm going to tell you. The number one reason we see patients in our offices is for pain, back pain, neck pain, shoulder pain, car accidents. I've never seen a car damage where the occupants weren't. So as a chiropractor, of course, we see a lot of pain patients. The number 2 reason we see patients is for what you have, the acid reflux, the heartburn, the burping, the gas, the bloating. It could cause sinus problems. The acid coming up into the throat can actually get into the sinuses and cause chronic sinus problems, chronic cough. These are all signs of acid coming up into the esophagus. You have a sheet of muscle called your diaphragm, and below your diaphragm sits your stomach. In cases like yours, in 100% of the cases, the stomach is pushed up into the diaphragm. When the stomach pushes up into the diaphragm, the food refluxes up into the throat, causing the acid reflux. So all the pills in the world aren't going to manually pull the stomach down away from the diaphragm. So in our office, 85% of the patients we check have what you have. And you need to manually pull the stomach away from the diaphragm, letting it drop below the esophagus, below the diaphragm. The stomach drops away from the esophagus, below the diaphragm, and you start to digest your food again. I have 6 doctors, me and 5 others. I personally do about 10 or 15 cases a day. That's how common it is. So if you go to my website, drjoeesposito.com, go under articles. I think it'll say blog, and then you'll see Dr. Joe's articles. I think it's the 5th or 6th one down. It's on GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease. It is the number 1 article downloaded from my website by far. Read the article. It explains the technique that we use. And then if you want to come, we're not far from where you are. We'd be more than happy to work on you to help get that fixed.
Awesome. I'll definitely check that out.
There you go, Daniel. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Yeah, folks, it's amazing. And I'm so glad you called, Daniel, because so many people have that same question. In fact, 85% of you statistically have that question, and you don't know what to do about it. If I haven't said it yet, follow me on Facebook. Follow me on Instagram. We send out lots of good information there, and it's always fun because every single day people are following me on Facebook, and we send out when I'm doing lectures. Sometimes we have specials going on at the office, and follow me on Instagram as well. We send it out there as well because we want to be your doctors. We really do. If you go to my website and send me your email address, I'll put you on our newsletter list. I'm more than happy to send you out our newsletter. It's no charge. Send out good little tips there as well. If you haven't read my books yet, Eating Right for the Health of It is an excellent book. That was the first one I wrote. The book I wrote not long ago is called Prescription for Extreme Health, an excellent book as well. Lots of good details on the website as well. And you probably want to get your Super Greens and your Essential Source, which everyone should be taking. Somebody just had a question, what's the difference? Super Greens are wheatgrass, barley grass, alfalfa grass, chlorella spirulina, which is the algae oil that we just talked about, the omega-3 fatty acids, and dulse, which is a great source of iodine. The wheatgrass, by the way, does not have gluten in it. Some people say, well, it's wheatgrass, I can't take it. It doesn't have gluten in it. Don't worry about that. That alkalizes the system and gives you minerals for the body to work. Super Greens, Essential Source, we take fruits and vegetables, juice them, take the water out at a very low temperature, and what's left is a powder. Then we add prebiotics, probiotics, digestive enzymes, and a complete multivitamin. So it's about 10 servings of raw fruits and vegetables per scoop. Tastes great. We sweeten it with a little bit of stevia. I mix a scoop of Super Greens and a scoop of Essential Source together. I use coconut milk or almond milk. Somebody else called before. You can use water, fruit juice, put it in a salad. I don't care how you do it. Once you start taking it for a few days, you're most likely going to want to take it for hopefully the rest of your life because it really is pretty amazing. And that's on the website or on Amazon, drjoeesposito.com, or if you have an Amazon account. Vitamin D. Most people are deficient in vitamin D. If you're going to take vitamin D supplements, and I think you should, you want to take vitamin D3, not vitamin D2. Vitamin D2 is the synthetic version of vitamin D3, and it's not nearly as effective. Now, many times people come in and say, I got prescribed vitamin D, and I take 50,000 units a day, once a week. You can't. First of all, you can't absorb that much. It's better to take it spread out over time. And second of all, it's vitamin D2, not vitamin D3, so you're not getting what you need. And chances are the vitamin D3 is going to be cheaper. 3 types of that as well. You can get it from an algae, which is expensive. You can get it from sheep wool, which is from lanolin, or you can get it from fish oil. I would recommend the lanolin or the algae if you can. Folks, got to go to break. If you have a question, give me a call. The number here is 844-44-DR-JOE, 844-44-DRJOE. That number rings through to my offices when I'm not on the air, which is convenient for you if you want to call, make an appointment, if you want to order supplements. You can do all that online, too. You can book appointments online and order supplements online. And the website, go to the website, spend a little time there. I want it to be your source of your health knowledge, and you can listen to radio shows time after time after time, all at no charge. Hey, don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back. Hey, folks, Dr. Joe Esposito here. Ahmad's being silly over there in the takeout window, as we call it there. So glad you can be here. What we're talking about today are supplements. Do you need them? What kind should you take? There are a certain minimum amount of supplements that I take every single day, and I eat a really good diet. So the worse your diet, the more you need supplements. I tell people all the time, at least take something. Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. But as winter moves in, we have to get more vitamin D. In fact, it's very rare that somebody comes into our offices and they have blood work done and their vitamin D is normal. Every now and then it happens, but extremely rare. So what I do is I take 5,000 international units of vitamin D3 every single day, and I think you should too. Try to take it with something fatty. Now, when I say fatty, olive oil, avocados, nuts, anything fatty, coconut oil, because it's what we call a fat-soluble vitamin. In fact, it's not really a vitamin, it's a hormone. But it's absorbed better if there's fat. And I want you to get the best bang for your buck. I want you to save the most amount of money and get the best amount of health. Doesn't that sound like a good plan? How could I save money and be healthy? The answer is that's the only way to do it. It's really hard to spend a lot of money because if you're spending a lot of money, you're usually buying bad foods and you're not going to get optimum health. So you'll save money and get good health by doing some real basic things. Now, if you're living anywhere on Earth and your chances are you need to take supplements because you're being exposed to things like chemical estrogens, and these things throw your hormones out of whack, you got to consider supplementation. Another thing, I promised I was going to talk about this, immune boosters. Because there are certain supplements that'll help your immune system work more effectively. And one of them is echinacea, another is Pau d'Arco, olive leaf extract. And several years ago, I had a product that was called Dr. Joe's Immune Booster. And unfortunately, our manufacturer, the guy that made it, died. And I just found a new manufacturer. So it's going to be back on the market. I know a lot of you have asked me about this for years. Very soon, next couple of weeks, actually, we have it on order. and it's Echinacea, Pau d'Arco, and olive leaf extract. And these three, it has a nice bite to it. A good Echinacea, by the way, is going to tingle when you put it in your mouth. It's one way you can tell it's a good Echinacea. And it's a liquid form, and I take that pretty much every day in the winter because it helps keep my immune system strong. And then if you do get sick, in fact, my syndicator, Steve, he said, hey, don't you have some type of supplement I can take? I got this horrible cold coming on. And I said, what I want you to do is take 2 cloves of garlic, put them through a garlic press, let it sit for a few minutes because there's chemicals in the garlic that have to interact, and then eat it with some salad or some soup. Don't eat it straight. He tried the first time straight. It's a little strong. And I just got a text from him not long ago, and he says, stuff's working great. So garlic is wonderful because it's antibiotic, antiviral, and antifungal. So depending on what's causing your disease, the garlic is just awesome. Now, you will stink. Now, you can do parsley if you want. That'll help cover up the bad breath. Anything with chlorophyll, but parsley works real well. But I have something that's called Dr. Joe's Cold and Flu Tonic, and it's ginger, horseradish, cayenne pepper, onion, and garlic. And we puree that in apple cider vinegar and then let it ferment. And it's really strong, but it really works. And if you've been a fan of that in the past, the good news is it'll be back on my website in a couple of weeks. Not there yet, but it will be, so keep checking. But you can, Echinacea is great for that. Olive leaf extract, that oil of oregano. Now, there's another thing you can do to help your brain work better. How many people would like that? Most of us. And you can do something called beet powder. Now, beets are high in nitrates. And nitrates, when they get into your mouth, you want to swish the beet powder around in your mouth. I mix it with the Super Greens and the Essential Source. And swish it around in your mouth before you swallow it. And it activates the nitrates to create something called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide opens up your blood vessels and increases circulation to your brain, to your arms, your legs. Your happy parts will keep it clean because it's a family show. And the beet powder works well. But you know what works better than beet powder? I've never told you this before. This is the first time I'm announcing this. Even Ahmad's excited. Arugula. It's like a green, it's a lettuce, and it's a little bitter, but it's about 10 times higher in nitrates than beet powder. So if you're going to make a salad, which you should be doing every day, by the way, I want you to get some arugula and mix it. It really has a great flavor. It's a strong bitter flavor, which helps clean out your liver, which is great, but it's also very good for the nitrate content. So you got a lot going on there when you start looking at arugula. So if you do arugula and beet salad, you're going to be amazed. Because a lot of times people call in or send me emails through my website, drjoeesposito.com, and they'll say, how does your brain work? Do you have prompters? Do you have other people in a room looking things up for you? And the answer is no. I'm in the studio right now. I'm looking at a totally empty studio. I have Ahmad on one side. We have Johnny answering calls. And if you have a question, Johnny's ready for you at 844-44-DR-JOE, 844-44-DRJOE. And the questions that come in, I just answer. My brain works really well for somebody any age, especially my age, because I eat the right foods. I don't eat the wrong foods. And I'll do things like beet powder. I'll do things like arugula to increase circulation to the body. Other things you want to consider is you got to get the body in motion. Your body has to be moving. I know we're talking about supplements, but even if you put really good gas in the car, you got to drive the car in order for it to work. I remember my dad used to say about cars, of course, this is years ago, he says, you got to take the car out for a run. Take it for a long run. Take it up the highway and back. Go for an hour because you got to clean out the pistons. Well, cars have come a long way since then, but if a car sits for too long, it's not going to work very well. Your body's the same way. Now, you can get up and hobble around. If that's the best you can do, get up and hobble around. If you're on a walker, use your walker. Walk across the room and back. Do a lap around your bed the first day, maybe, and then a lap around 2 laps the second day. Ultimately, get to the place where you're doing something to keep the body working. Get your heart rate up. Walk up the stairs instead of taking the elevator. Do 10,000 steps a day. Get a pedometer, put it on your belt, and do 10,000 steps a day. That's ideal. Breathing is very important for you to utilize your supplements and your nutrients. And the breathing I like to recommend, and I want you to do this, especially as you're falling asleep. It's a perfect time to do it. I call it the 4-1-5 technique. I want you to take a deep breath in for the slow count of 4. I want you to hold it for 1 count. And I want you to exhale for a 5 count. And if you do that, what it does, it kicks in what's called your parasympathetic nervous system. Now, there's 2 types of nerves in your body. Sympathetic speeds you up. Parasympathetic slow you down. And by doing the 4-1-5 breathing, you're kicking in your parasympathetic nervous system, which is where you relax and calm down. Also, if you have constipation, if you have upset stomach, can't sleep, nervousness, this is an excellent way to kick in what we call the parasympathetic nervous system. You have to drink a lot of water. Because, again, if you're taking all the best supplements in the world, if you're taking Dr. Joe's Super Greens, Dr. Joe's Essential Source, you're eating arugula, you're taking your vitamin D, you're taking your omega-3 fatty acids every day, you got to make sure you have enough water for the body to utilize it. Now, there's not enough water in the food that you eat. You have to drink extra water. You want to drink a minimum of about, 6 to 8 glasses of pure water, filtered water. Soda and coffee and scotch and water do not count. So I had a scotch and water today, Dr. Joe, it's okay. No, scotch and water does not count. Break time again? So much to talk about, so little time. Folks, got to go to break. If you have a question, give us a call, 844-44-Dr. Joe. My website, if you want to order Super Greens, Essential Source, listen to radio shows, watch videos of my lectures, all no charge. Well, the lectures are. drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe with the #1 Dr. Joe in the world. Also, the supplements of my books are available on Amazon. Hey, don't go anywhere. Tell your friends about the show. We're going to be right back. Hey, folks, thanks for listening. Do appreciate you taking time out of your day to be here. We're talking about supplements today. Do you need them? What kind should you take? And the answer is yes, you need them. You should take whole food supplements that are processed minimal amount, and no synthetic supplements. So make sure you don't have anything that's synthetic. So the rule is this: if you can't pronounce an ingredient in your supplement, you probably shouldn't be eating it. Let's go back to the callers. Ralph, how can we make your day better?
I'm doing good, Dr. Joe. How are you this evening?
I'm very happy. Thank you.
Good. Not a first-time caller. Just wanted to get a little information from you. I do pretty good. I do my krill oil, which we've spoken about.
Excellent.
Do my cod liver oil. Pretty good diet. Exercise, not as much as I used to, but I got one thing that's nagging me, and it's my high blood pressure. It's not really over the top, but I want to control it naturally, which I'm not a big fan of medication. But I'm taking the meds now with hopes of finding something natural that can control that for me. Any ideas or any pointers for me on that?
Absolutely, yeah. Again, if you need the medicine, take it, absolutely. A couple of things with blood pressure. Number one, it could be a physical problem. We talk about the stomach pushing up against the diaphragm. If the stomach is pushed up against the diaphragm, you could be irritating something called the vagus nerve. So if you have acid reflux, heartburn, burping, gas, bloating, chronic cough, sinus problems, that could be a sign of acid reflux. And if the stomach is irritated, it seems to irritate the vagus nerve, and the vagus nerve also has some control over the heart. So I've had tons of patients over the years, when we massage the stomach down away from the diaphragm, the blood pressure drops. So if you have acid reflux or heartburn, it could be a physical problem, okay?
Okay.
Nerves in the lower part of the neck control the heart. So I've adjusted patients from the spine, and many times their blood pressure drops because they had a pinched nerve. From a nutrition standpoint, so if there's a physical point that you can't fix, but the chemical standpoint, we used to talk about salt being really bad because salt would raise your blood pressure. But if you're doing air-dried sea salt or pink Himalayan salt, it shouldn't be a problem because it has over. Okay, perfect then. Perfect then. We don't have to worry about that. But sugar, now we're finding, could be as bad or worse than salt, and the reason is this: when you eat sugar, your pancreas releases insulin. And insulin then goes to the cells, opens up the cells, and allows the sugar into the cells. Now, when I say sugar, breads, cookies, cakes, donuts, pastas, when you make insulin, your body uses magnesium to make insulin. Magnesium relaxes your blood vessels and opens up your blood vessels, lowering the pressure. So most of us don't get enough magnesium in our diet. If you're not eating a lot of fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds, things like Dr. Joe's Super Greens, Dr. Joe's Essential Source are excellent sources of that. You may need to be taking a magnesium supplement, but if you're eating a lot of sugar, even if you are getting enough magnesium, you're wasting it. And you're wasting it because you're putting it into the utilization of insulin. So cutting out all the breads, cookies, cakes, donuts, and pastas in many cases helps the blood pressure as well. Magnesium supplements, if you take too much, you'll get diarrhea. So if you took too much magnesium supplements, you have diarrhea, you cut back a little bit. And that can open up the blood vessels as well. So those would be approaches that I would try to get the blood pressure down naturally.
Okay, great. Because like I said, I did the heart scan, and I was a little afraid because I didn't understand what it meant. I called back, and I said, my scan says all zeros. Black male, African-American, some say, all zeros, 53 years old, so my demographics was pretty good.
Yeah.
So I was a little concerned, but now I'm not concerned about the heart part of it anymore. Just trying to figure out, put my finger on the high blood pressure thing. So thanks for your information. I'll try to act on some of those, and actually, hopefully, I'll try to get an appointment with your doctor, with your office, and try to see what we can do together.
That would be the best approach. Thanks, Ralph. I appreciate the call. Thanks so much.
Yes, thank you.
And it's cool because there's usually an alternative method to treat just about all your ailments. And again, we're not medical doctors. We're not trying to replace medicine. We're trying to get you healthy without the drugs and the surgery and get to the cause of the problem and not just treat the symptoms. Now, so, you may hear me, I may take a shot at medicine here and there, but I'm actually very optimistic that some of the things I see are coming in the future are going to be very good. We're certainly not a long way away from some of the innovations that are happening, but I believe that many of the treatments that we consider barbaric will go the way of the dinosaur. Things that we're doing now that just aren't working or things that you just can't understand why it's being done, those are going to go the way of the dinosaur. I know that. The worst pharmaceutical drugs are going to be replaced with metabolic moderators and immune enhancers. We're seeing cancer research already turning to that, where it's cancer, they try to modulate and get the immune system working more efficiently to attack the cancer cells. That's the trend in cancer treatment right now. But there's no amount of a medical advancement that's going to replace or make right an unhealthy fast food diet. You have to eat better. There's no medical advancement in the world that's going to change that. You have to unplug your colon. If your bowels aren't moving 2 to 3 times a day, you need to do several things. Number one, check the nerve supply in the low back. That's the nerves to the colon, the sex organs, and the bladder. And a lot of times with patients, especially babies, but adults as well, pinched nerves in the low back, the bowels aren't working. So you can take all the intestinal cleansers and laxatives in the world, a pinched nerve, nothing's going to fix that. There's no medical treatment in the world that's going to put a bone back in place, only chiropractic treatment. If you overtax your liver, I was a guest on a show last week, and the producer just said, man, I just feel dizzy and kind of lightheaded. And the radio show host said, but he's been drinking a lot. And I said, well, you got to stop doing that. You can't take a pill to undo the damage that you did for drinking. You have to just stop drinking so much. And if your body is filled with hundreds of toxic chemicals and heavy metals, whether you're inhaling them where you work, maybe you're putting perfume, cologne, deodorant, hairspray, you got to stop all that, folks. Go to a more natural way. So even if it's coming in the future, that doesn't help you right now. Ultimately, if you want optimum health, if you want to overcome illness, you have no choice. You have to have a normally functioning nervous system, a normally functioning digestive system, and good nutrition. You cannot wait for some magical bullet to come, and even if it does, it may not work for you. You can't count on the medical system in this country to take care of you anymore. That's it. You cannot count on the medical system taking care of your problems because doctors are dropping out of practice every single day. I can't tell you how many doctors that I thought were in practice, I check on them, and they're out of business. Got an email from a doctor just the other day. He said, hey, I heard you on the radio. You sounded great, man. I said, what are you up to? He says, I'm reinventing myself since I closed my practice. So he didn't retire, just closed his practice. And I hear that story time and time again. The insurance companies stink. They lie to you. They take your money. They don't pay the bills like they're supposed to. There's no other way to put it. So you have to take responsibility for your own health. And you do that by getting a normally functioning nervous system, a normally functioning digestive system, and good nutrition. Folks, if you want to order Super Greens, Essential Source, my books, if you want to listen to archive radio shows, watch videos, they're on my website, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe. If you have questions, you can send them to me through the website. If you didn't get on the air today, drjoeesposito.com. It's really a good website, but at least if you do nothing else, start with Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. Listen to the radio shows, read the articles on my website. Naturally, I want to get you well and keep you well. Hey, folks, thanks for listening. Thanks for telling your friends about the show, and we'll catch you next time.